Now you've gone through the plays over and over in your mind. You've visualized the in-game scenario so much and so vividly that you replay them over and over, even in your sleep. You've conditioned your body to endure whatever it encounters. You've prepared every way you know how. And yet, if you forget this one thing, you've failed. And it will ultimately prove to be your downfall, no matter the outcome of the game and the score on the scoreboard. Welcome to the Out Hustle Mentality Podcast, where insight meets impact and we discuss the principles necessary to reach success in any area of your life. I'm your host, Joe Olivas. Stick with me as we dive into what the Out Hustle Mentality is, the principles that govern the mindset, the reason for the podcast, and why it's taken me so long to bring it to you here. Now let's lock in and let's get after it. First, let's lay some groundwork. I've got to get the foundation set to help you understand why we are even here in the first place. Bottom line, I'm starting all over. Everything has changed in my life, and I mean everything. And it's been one crazy ride to get to this point, too. But even before we get to all of that, let me take you back just a few years. You see, I grew up watching Michael play. The things Jordan did with the basketball on the court were amazing, and something everyone had to see. If you showed up anywhere and you hadn't watched the game the night before, you were out of the conversation entirely. The highlight reel just wouldn't cut it either. You just didn't know. Plain and simple. Now, as I got older and started having kids of my own, it was interesting to see how the GOAT conversation evolved and changed over time. My daughter Jasmine, she loves Kobe. Mamba mentality till she dies. Kobe was relentless and a crazy fierce competitor. We've all heard the stories, we've watched the interviews, and we've seen him play. He's a mirror of sorts to Jordan. He was the closest I think we will ever see to watching Michael play. Whereas my son Isaac, he loves LeBron and everything that he brings to the game. Needless to say, the GOAT debate at our house would get heated real quick. Yet those moments are some of my fondest memories as my kids were growing up. Of course, 6 beats 5 beats 4. It's just math. Don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on Kobe or LeBron. I'm a fan of greatness. The work ethic that they needed to compete at that high of a level, nothing short of inspiring. If you ask me though, when it comes to the GOAT, it's Jordan. Always will be. Sorry, kids. As a father, though, around this time I began noticing some things in Isaac, things that had me concerned. You see, I noticed my son was idolizing LeBron in a way that I couldn't control. Not that I wanted to determine who he looked up to. Like I said, I'm a fan of greatness, but I could not control the examples that LeBron would set for my son outside of the game of basketball. As a father, it gave me some reasons to look deeper into the examples that were being set, and I began to explore how I could create additional examples that would serve my son beyond the hardwood. Thinking about it for some time, I felt that I had found an answer. So I reached out to a good personal friend of mine. And during our conversations together, I explained the thoughts I was having about starting a sports publication, with the idea in the back of my mind of providing additional role models for my son to look to. This publication will give us the opportunity to interview athletes and coaches, share their successes and their failures, the goals they had hoped to achieve, how they each dealt with failures and setback, and ultimately how they overcome them to achieve the things that they were after. The interviews could illustrate the things that those being interviewed were balancing in their lives, whether it was work, family, responsibilities outside of their individual sport, practice, nutrition, game film, workouts. I mean, all of it. We could really dive deep into and discuss the goals and ambitions that these athletes and coaches had and paint overall pictures that readers could identify with. Pictures that I personally felt would also help my son. As he would begin to see himself in similar situations, he could continue to develop the skills and ability that would help him set the right kind of goals, all while balancing just growing up. Ultimately, this was the opportunity I was looking for as a father that could assist me in creating examples from my son's life that would benefit him beyond the sports that he was playing at the time. So that's what we did. We launched a publication, and it was an incredible experience that would have lasting effects on my own life. Over the course of the next 5 years, we interviewed hundreds of athletes and coaches at all levels, some in high school who've since turned pro, athletes and coaches at the collegiate level, and at the time, some active and retired pro athletes. We even interviewed a few Olympians. Bottom line, We had the material, the stories, the examples. We extracted some valuable lessons that could serve any student of competition. It was mission accomplished, right? Well, fast forward, COVID happens. So we put the publication to bed. Nobody wants to read about what athletes would have done had they played. And I certainly didn't want to hear or read about the goals you would have set and you might have reached if you've been given the chance. So it was done. We wrapped it up, closed the books on that chapter because it served its purpose. We extracted the lessons and we moved on. Now, these many years later, my son Isaac is doing amazingly well. He's wrapped up his master's, has a beautiful wife who we love, three amazing girls of his own that are my world. His career and job already lined up to begin later this year. My son is a man now, and what I'm extremely proud of. It is not even about what he has or has yet to accomplish. It's about who he's become in the process. All the hard work, the late nights, the consistency, he learned and implemented those things that were necessary to reach his goal. And it was incredible as his father to see him go through it all. Now, honestly, I had forgotten all about the publication. I don't think I'd given a second thought for several years until it was time for me to remember. Call it divine providence. I wasn't putting this publication together for my son, but as it turns out, I was putting it together for me. I just didn't know it at the time. So, fast forward August 2023, it's Thursday evening, it's late. I'm in bed, dozing off, in and out of sleep. My wife and our youngest son, Joseph, were at some community event, and so they didn't get home until after I had fallen asleep. About 11:30, my wife enters the room, leans over, wakes me up, and says, "Joe, I want a divorce." My head exploded. I had a million and one thoughts all at the same time, straight up chaos. I could not sort through it all. I didn't know what was happening. Thoughts coming and going so fast. I didn't know what was up and what was down. All I remembered was I grabbed my keys, my sweater, my shoes, and I walked out the front door. I just started walking. I don't even know where I was going. I was just walking. I know it was for several hours. And I was having this audible conversation with God, alone in the dark in the middle of the night. There I was trying to make sense of it all. I didn't understand the reasons she had given for wanting the divorce. I felt blindsided and confused. And in all fairness, I don't think I heard anything my wife said after that initial bombshell. Everything was just a complete blur. Now, if you've been in a similar situation, genuinely blindsided by something, I know that you can relate. I do remember I was trying to determine how I was going to fix and save my marriage. While walking that evening, I was having these pointed conversations with God, asking for help, pleading for guidance, asking for direction. I was asking what I needed to fix and change about myself, and what, if anything, could be done to lay out a blueprint for me to follow. My world was shattered, but somehow I knew that I could pick up the pieces and put it all back together. I didn't understand what was going on, but I knew I could fix it. Then it all hit me. I knew exactly what to do. I knew the exact steps I needed to take, the things I needed to change, the things I could improve on. I had the list of everything that was going to take place to save my marriage. So I turned around, started heading home around 3:30, 4 in the morning. Well, October 11th, received the email. The divorce is final. Crazy too, because up to that point, I still believed I was able to fix it. Talk about a roller coaster of emotions. Going through a period of self discovery, self evaluation, and deep reflection would be considered an understatement. I'm not going to sugarcoat it either. The following morning, I was actively, vocally wondering why God would lay out a plan he knew wasn't going to work. Seriously, I was asking him, why would you tell me what to do if you knew it wasn't going to work? It wasn't until about a year and a half later that I understood why. But there I was, picking up the pieces of my life, having to start over, to lay a new foundation for how I would live the rest of my life, all alone. Several weeks later, as I was leaving what used to be my home, Isaac had asked me a simple question that would forever alter my life in an incredible way. Perhaps this question was just supposed to be as simple as a son asking a father out of concern, hoping that he wouldn't have to see his father one day crumble under the pressure of it all. I don't know for sure, but the depth and implications of his question for me in that moment were of the most important and profound. He asked, "Dad, what is your game plan?" I thought for a moment. Then I knew. I understood. I had years worth of content that was designed to train a mind how to live, how to succeed during moments of difficulty. this content would help me learn to rewire my mind for success. And that's exactly what I needed. I was starting all over and I needed a new blueprint to follow. One for my mind, not my marriage. The divorce, that was my now ex wife's choice. How I moved forward was my choice and mine alone. As I dove into the content that I put together years prior, I began to extract a set of principles and ideas and things that govern what I now call the out hustle mentality and the core philosophy behind the podcast. So, moving forward, we're going to dive into these principles and their application in each episode. We'll share stories and ideas that will greatly increase the likelihood of success in any individual's life, no matter the area of your focus, any area you choose. But make no mistake, this is your choice, not mine. No one is going to grant you your wishes simply because you wish them. I don't care how many times you write down your goals, color code them with nice dates on a calendar, how many vision boards you create or affirmations you recite. No one, and I mean no one, is going to do the work for you necessary for you to reach your goals. It's on you. The real questions are, how disciplined are you? Or are you really just good at pretending? The discipline you need to be successful does not care if you're tired. Discipline doesn't care if you feel weak, if you feel like you need a break. No such thing as a day off. There's always something to improve. You just have to be more than willing because discipline demands dedication. It always has, and it always will. Now, I've since remarried, and I'm happy and looking forward to sharing with you in upcoming episodes some of the things that are taking place in my life, as well as the personal growth that has taken place spiritually. My LDS faith is a big part of my life, and I would not change a thing about the past if it meant that I wouldn't be where I am today. Sometimes God lets you break because the version of you that He is building is far greater than the one you were even willing to imagine for yourself. But even this type of rebuilding is going to take some serious work on your part, and it will depend on you making the deliberate choice to step into the fire. Now, here's the truth no one wants to hear. To be successful at anything in life, it's all about the hustle. It's the commitment, the dedication, and the drive. The quiet nights alone building, creating and crafting the life that you want to live, and to do so with purpose and intention. This kind of growth isn't left to chance, and it does not happen by accident. The out hustle mentality isn't about looking busy, it's about serious work. And herein lies the first principle. You cannot escape this simple truth. You are competing every single minute of every day. Understanding this first principle is key, and how you respond to it makes all the difference. You see, the out hustle mentality is about developing a mindset that is bulletproof to mediocrity. It's about outworking your old habits, outsmarting your old distractions, and outlasting your comfort zone. It's about understanding who your competition really is in any area of your life, in business, relationships, your spirituality, your finances, your health. It's understanding who you are competing against and why you are in the competition in the first place. Again, the first principle. You cannot escape this simple truth. You are competing every single minute of every day. And we are in competition against three distinct individuals. The first you work to beat, the second you commit to destroy, and the third you must be willing to surrender to. Once you understand who these three are, once you embrace the truth that in order to grow, excel, and succeed at any level, you have to commit to the competition to be successful. The person in front of you on the court, on the field, in business, or the one you're competing with for that job or that relationship, that promotion, that business opportunity, that's the one you need to work to beat. And it won't be easy. You'll have to put in some serious effort and time to succeed there. That competitor isn't going to just hand you the win. No competitor will. The second one, that one you and I must commit to destroy. That individual takes a great deal of courage and discipline to even face. That one most will never approach with any level of seriousness. For some, it's out of fear, some out of complacency, and sadly, others don't even realize that this one even exists. That is the current version of who you are. That's the one you need to commit to fully destroy. Because the third individual that you're competing against is right there waiting in the wings. He or she is the one that you must be willing to surrender to. That is the person you say you are wanting to become. This one, will be the hardest of the three to face because this one requires brutal honesty about who you are and a willingness to become something you've never been before. This one is full of the unknowns and requires so much more than most are willing to give. Just like that professional athlete that gives her all to excel at their sport, you must be willing to give your all to surrender to who you could become. That version of you will not beg for your attention or will not bow down to your fears and desires for comfort. That version of you is in constant growth mode, and you will be chasing that version of yourself every day of your life. Only you get to decide if that race is worth it, though. Only you get to decide if you want to be that version of you. The out hustle mentality is about becoming. It's about waking up earlier and pushing further and never allowing good enough to be part of your vocabulary. It really isn't about being better than someone else, although that is a natural part of competition. The out hustle mentality is about being a better version of you today than the version of you that made all the excuses yesterday. Developing and embracing this mindset isn't punishment, I promise you. It's liberation. When you're disciplined, you don't need to rely on willpower. You don't scramble at the last minute. You're prepared and you're focused. You're in control. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters most consistently with precision. This out hustle mentality gives you the power to say no to your distractions and yes to your mission. When you own your routine, you own your results. And every day you are surrendering to a better, faster, stronger, healthier, happier, more successful version of yourself. That is the ideal way to live. The old you must die before the new you can be born. And every day is a rebirth of the man or woman you were meant to become. But this is going to cost you, and you have to be willing to pay the price. No shortcuts, no excuses, no days off. So here I am, reinventing myself, being reborn all over again, striving daily to become a newer, better version of myself. And tomorrow, I'll do it all over again. Right now, I feel like the young David kneeling by the brook, selecting those 5 smooth stones for the Goliaths in my life that I'm going to face. And daily discipline will create the life I want to live. It's the twins' discipline and consistency that will make all the difference in my life. And strengthening my own understanding and implementation of the out hustle mentality is the key. And discipline is at its core. Now, before he was known as the baddest man on the planet, Mike Tyson was a scared kid from Brownsville, Brooklyn. But under the eyes of legendary trainer Custer Motto, fear became fire and Tyson was a beast. Cuss gave him structure and Tyson gave him his everything. Up at 4:30 in the morning for runs in combat boots with hours of bag work, mitt drills, shadowboxing, Tyson studied fight film obsessively, listening to commentary on repeat. He ate the same foods, trained at the same times, no distractions, no breaks. Tyson didn't just train to fight, he trained to destroy excuses, and he left room for none. Once Tyson was training under Cuss, the regimen was brutal, and it was consistent. From Cuss's peekaboo training style to Tyson's stance, his movements and attack defense, they were all honed in a very structured way. And those who faced Tyson in the ring, well, they suffered the brutal consequence of this relentless training. In one description of his camp, Tyson's routine would start with early morning run, followed by heavy bag and sparring sessions midday and afternoon. And he would round this off with body weight and calisthenic work, something like 200 sit ups, 50 dips, 50 push ups, 50 shrugs with weights. And he'd do that 10 times a day throughout the day, 6 days a week, no excuse. I mean, damn, that's crazy discipline. The pattern of frequent sparring, heavy conditioning, focused diet, and recovery was part of what made Tyson physically stand out and why he's still considered one of the most dominant to ever strap on a pair of gloves. Seriously, if you were a minute late to the fight, it was likely over anyway by knockout. You had to hope that you could catch the replay. That's the out hustle mentality, an obsessive drive, a determination to succeed, to remove all excuses, to do whatever it takes to destroy the current version of yourself, and to surrender to who you are becoming. There's no shortcuts to success. You can't have commit. This isn't about convenience either. No matter the pursuit, you must be all in to out hustle who you were yesterday, to out hustle your weak mindset, pulling you back to a life of comfort, convenience, and ease. Success in any area isn't for everyone. It's only reserved for those that choose it and who strengthen their mindset and those who are willing to put in the work necessary to get there. You need to out hustle the excuses that you've rehearsed for years. You are not competing with the world around you. You are competing with who you used to be, who you are now, and who you could become. By doing that day in and day out, you'll always be ready for any competition that's in front of you on the court, in the field, that job or that business opportunity, the battle with your health, the growth you want spiritually. It's all on the other side of the work that you were trying to avoid, and the out hustle mentality is your path. Out hustle you, your mind, your own limiting beliefs, your self doubt, your fear. Learn to be obsessed with the version of you that you are becoming. And that's why the podcast. Stick with me as we go down this journey together. You get to watch me go through my own period of reinvention and growth as I start all over. New life, new city, new spouse, new strengthened mindset that I am deliberately incorporating into my life. We'll discuss the 15 principles that govern the out hustle mentality mindset more fully as we go through subsequent episodes. We'll discuss some of the interviews that we have done in the past as we go through this journey together. And over time, we may even bring some of those interviews to life. I'm especially excited about some of the personal things that I'm involved in as I make my way through this journey of self discovery, reinvention, personal recreation, things that I'm looking forward to sharing with you. Best part about all of this is you get to keep me accountable to myself. Now, understand this: winners, buzzer beaters, championship rings, trophies, records, legacies, they are all of no consequence. They don't matter if, when it's all said and done, you fail to compete. And I mean truly compete and conquer your fiercest competitor. Deep down, you know the one that I'm talking about. Count it as your greatest adversary, your true rival, your ultimate nemesis, the one you face in the heat of competition, standing in the arena amidst the spectators who are crying for your downfall or cheering you on to victory. This mirror knows your strengths and your weaknesses. It knows your every move, and it counters as quickly as you attack. But remember, you weren't built to live a life of comfort. You were built for a life of purpose. And once the discipline shows up in your life, the old you has died and the new you is being born. Embrace this type of pressure because this pressure reveals the blind spots so you know how, when, and where to improve. Pressure builds, it reveals, and if you don't embrace it for what it is, an opportunity for growth, then pressure just buries you. Now, you've gone through the plays over and over in your mind. You've visualized the in game scenarios so much and so vividly that you replay them over and over, even in your sleep. You've conditioned your body to endure whatever it encounters. You've prepared every way you know how. And yet, if you forget this one thing, you failed. And it will ultimately prove to be your downfall, no matter the outcome of the game and the score on the scoreboard. Let me say it again. If you forget this one thing, you failed. Learn how to conquer your mind. So remember this: the first principle of the out hustle mentality. You cannot escape this simple truth. You are competing every single minute of every day. Stagnation is a myth. Every day you are either improving or declining. There's no neutral ground. Growth doesn't happen by accident, it's intentional. And the moment you stop pushing forward, you're already falling behind. Champions don't just look at the scoreboard, they look to set the standard. So, what is your standard? The one you say you were ready to set for yourself. If you're not raising it, you're lowering it. Plain and simple. And that's the out hustle mentality. With that said, thanks for spending some time. I hope you found some value and that you're beginning to re-examine your own mindset as you seek to reach your goals. Now, don't forget to like, subscribe for more content, and we'll catch you on the next episode.